7-seaters to stop operating to and from the Erongo region. My family have become beggars and are living off handouts, says ESO. And Red Cross calls for more volunteers during COVID-19.
Last week, Namibia recorded over 303 COVID-19 cases, of which 90% were confirmed in the Erongo region alone. This has led government to officially label the coastal town of Walvis Bay as the epicenter of the pandemic in the country. At a press briefing on COVID-19, President Geingob confirmed that there is community transmission at Walvis Bay and that the town will remain under stage 3 as a result of the alarming surge in COVID cases.
We are recording different types of transmissions in the different towns. At Swakopmund, we are mitigating a cluster of cases where most cases have been locally transmitted but can be traced to chains of transmission. What is frightening is that there is community transmission at Walvis Bay. Not being a medical doctor, I'll allow that to expand on it. To date, in other parts of the country, we recorded sporadic cases. I wish to assure the nation that government is closely monitoring the unfolding situation in the country, as well as the effectiveness of measures being implemented to combat the pandemic. The evidence before us reveals that Namibia is dealing with two very distinct COVID-19 situations, the one prevailing at Walvis Bay and the rest of the country. It is therefore necessary to apply rational and targeted interventions to respond effectively to both situations. The rising number of cases at Walvis Bay warrants additional containment measures to slow the rate of transmission and prevent the disease from spreading beyond the 3 local authority areas.
Minister of Health Kalumbi Shangula said that the Erongo region will remain under stage 3 for another month, with travel to other towns from the 3 main authorities in the region still restricted.
To minimize broader exposure to communities residing at the towns of Walvis Bay, Swakopmund and Arandis, travel into, out of, and between these 3 local authority areas is not permitted and will be restricted only to the supply of essential and critical goods and services as defined in the regulations. Personal contact details of all persons living and or entering the restricted local authority area will be recorded in the registry at the point of entry or exit by the law enforcement personnel. Public gatherings shall remain restricted to a maximum of 10 people for the whole of the Erongo region. Schools in the restricted areas may not resume face-to-face instructions. Learners who find themselves in the restricted area will not be permitted to travel out of that restricted area to other parts of the country, owing to the inherent risks. Any person leaving the Walvis Bay, Swakopmund and Arandis local authority areas to any part of the country, apart from providers of critical goods and services, will be quarantined for a period of 14 days at own cost.
Geingob said that Namibia is lucky not to have recorded a death at this point and urged Namibians to adhere to the regulations.
My father worked hard, and he made sure I did too. Because of him, I studied every day, and I did well. He helped me start my first business. It's only now I understand. My father always had big dreams for me. And now, my dreams are the same as my father's.
In 100 years, we've learned that times change, but what matters never will.
The Namibia Transport and Taxi Union President Werner January released a statement where he clarified on his request to have certain individuals in the community acquire discounts or receive subsidized amounts to their taxi fares. January also expressed his disappointment against the government as, according to him, they have failed to take action against illegal drivers transporting passengers to and from the Irongo region.
And they are allowing
Werner January has expressed his disappointment in the government as they have allegedly not taken action against certain road transport users that have been illegally transporting passengers to and from the Irongo region.
It's really mind-baffling and really concerning that the government should really be irresponsible and act ignorant as they are acting. While there is a strict measures for Walvis, Swakop and Arandes, and they are allowing people to go in and out, while we are being told that the numbers, especially in Walvis, they are climbing, and because all these people they interrelate, Swakop, Arandes, because they work across towns, they are normally together, and now allowing some of these people to come out of that region. And for some of the people coming from here going there to return back, it's really concerning. Government must really be very, very serious and take a prompt decision. And I want them to make a decisive decision right now, especially the Minister of Transport. He must stop all these people coming inside and outside, getting these permits, transport permits of entering and exiting Walvis Bay or that Irongo region. We don't want to put our lives at risk. Now they are there in their suburbs, luxury suburbs. We are here we will be the first ones to receive that brand of that COVID-19. So I want them to take a very serious decision, and I want to remind them that the majority of these people that are transporting, especially 7-seaters there, are actually doing it illegally. The grace period which I asked for from the ministry was only for those that are having permits. And the majority of those that are operating there are not having permits at all. So I want them to stop with immediate effect.
The NTTU president also expressed his interest in the community as he demanded for the government to offer taxi fare discounts to certain citizens in the community.
Yeah, as I said, it's only for the first, and it is only for the students right now and learners. As soon as the school starts, I don't know whether the school has started or not, but it is for the students and learners, and especially for our senior citizens. Remember, this country was built on the back of the taxes and hard work of our elderly people, coupled to the liberation struggle also. But mainly we are not focused on the liberation struggle, we are targeting the hard work and their taxes that has built this country as far as it is, where it is right now. It is really where our main concern is. That's why we feel that we need to offer them at least this leeway and to lift a heavy burden off from their shoulders. Because some of the senior citizens, they not only cater for themselves, they also cater for grandchildren, which are our children. Some of our children are with our parents and the mother's kids' parents. So we also affiliate not only for others, but also it's a benefit to us also. So we also have senior citizens as parents, uncles, aunties. So they are all over society, and we just to say thank you for what they have done for the country. It's our way of giving back to them. But of course, that is the main intention, is because we want our industry to be subsidized. But in order for government to even consider, we must also give back to the community and to prove to government that at least we are giving back. And there's this thing also called the social corporate responsibility. As an industry, what are we giving back? Because the corporate law talks about social corporate responsibility. You must give back in the community in which you profit. We can't just thinking of maximizing profit without really giving back. There are people that go to bed hungry. There are students that don't have parents. that only depend from communities. What are we doing for all these people?
Additionally, the NTTU president noted that he is attempting for public transport drivers to receive basic salaries.
Share with us on #LearnOn1. Tell us what you're learning and where you're learning it from. Send us your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081 200 6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
The former Minister of Fisheries Bernard Esau and his son-in-law Thompson Haitui Kulipi appeared in the Windhoek Magistrates Court to apply for bail after spending more than 7 months in prison for his alleged involvement in the fish rot scandal, where the two suspects are accused of committing several charges of corruption, fraud and money laundering. According to Esau, his incarceration has left his workers, including his family, under stressful economic conditions. In his bail application, former Minister of Fisheries Bernard Esau cited various reasons why he deserves to be granted bail by the court, such as loss of income from his previous position in government and cabinet, personal health reasons, as well as his inability to financially provide his wheelchair-bound daughter with medical assistance, as his medical aid is in arrears. Esau further denied all allegations brought against him by the Anti-Corruption Commission of Namibia, saying that he has spent over 7 months in jail without any credible evidence brought against him, which has left his farm workers who depend on him for an income as well as his family under stressful economic conditions. He further noted that the current conditions forced his family to become beggars and live off handouts. According to Esau, he has lost all means of income which he enjoyed as a former minister and member of parliament, and through other private businesses such as farming, where he sold cattle from his farm situated in the Gobabas district. Esau also said that his relationship with Thompson Haitui Kulipi is strictly on the basis of a father-in-law and son-in-law, adding that he will not be a flight risk if he is released, as his family needs him, and that he is willing to forfeit his assets, which are valued at 22 million Namibia dollars, to the state during the investigations. The former fisheries minister also offered to pay an amount of 50,000 Namibia dollars to be released on bail, adding that he won't interfere in the investigations. He further argued that he is not the corrupt politician as painted by the ACC, and that all his movable properties such as his house and farm were procured without any corrupt activities.
Last year, critics and audiences fell in love with the Big C.
So what next?
I, for one, am prepared to be wowed.
Oh, you be wowed. I'll be drunk. My name's Kathy, and I will see you now.
It is not okay for you to kiss my wife.
I don't want to feel better. I want to be better.
The Red Cross Society of Namibia has expressed gratitude towards the volunteers that are representing their organizations at camps stationed at stadiums in Windhoek due to the COVID-19. They were trained by the Red Cross to educate their communities on the COVID-19 pandemic. Red Cross Namibia Communications Officer Edmund Gausep said that there are communities that have been moved to stadiums in Windhoek due to the COVID-19, and the Red Cross has identified individuals that can educate their community members on COVID-19.
With regards to the outbreak of COVID-19, and the country went into lockdown, we have people that are living on the streets, people that do not have shelter, And as such, the government, through the Ministry of Gender, stepped in and relocated these people to 2 soccer fields here in Windhoek, that being the Kommersdal Stadium as well as the Katutra Stadium. And then what we have done as the Namibia Red Cross, we then stepped in to assist government with the mobilizing of volunteers within the camp. And these volunteers really are responsible for the day-to-day running of the camp, making sure that, the hygiene or proper hygiene is practiced within the settlement, as well as just educating the inhabitants on COVID-19 related issues. And we have then also provided them with some material that they are also using to educate as well as to disseminate within the settlement. So in a nutshell, that is what we are doing to assist the government in that regard.
Gossip added that the volunteers received extensive training before they engaged their community members and will be assisting the Red Cross way after COVID-19 has passed.
We will still be working with these volunteers. Currently, they are in there with some funding that we have received through sponsorships, especially from Coca-Cola. But as soon as it ends and the camps are dismantled, these are some of the people that we'll be using to still engage that segment of the community, because these people will just not go away at the end of COVID. They will still be around somewhere. And I'm thinking that that'll be our in. These volunteers will be our in to try and see what are the needs on the ground, how can we address them. And then what we are really doing is also making sure that we are building currently capacity, so that from these camps, or from not the camps, from these settlements, these inhabitants would then have a shot at life as well.
Gossip further stated that anyone that wants to become a volunteer should approach any Red Cross regional office in their area for more information.
We always love to hear from you. Send us your views, comments, and videos with your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081 200 6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV, it just gets better.
In other leading stories, the Ministry of Mines and Energy has finalized its monthly fuel price review and announced that after the oil price crash in April, the global oil market has begun to pick itself up as countries begin to open up their economies following the lockdowns in March owing to COVID-19. As a result, demand for oil has started to surge, and so have the prices of various petroleum products. On average, the price per barrel per petrol and diesel increased from $32 and $31 respectively in May to $44 for both products in June 2020. This is a net increase of roughly $12 from last month's prices. The exchange rate between the Namibia dollar against the US dollar has been relatively favorable during the period under review. It appreciated from an average of 18 Namibia dollars 15 cents in May to 17 Namibia dollars 1 cent in June. This appreciation in the local currency was, however, not strong enough to offset the corresponding increase in the international price of petrol and diesel. Under normal circumstances, under-recoveries warrant an increase of local fuel pump prices. However, government is mindful of the fact that the economy is still bleeding due to the COVID-19 effects. The ministry has therefore decided to keep fuel pump prices unchanged for the month of July. The fuel pump prices in Walvis Bay will therefore remain at 10 Namibia dollars 35 cents per litre on petrol and 11 Namibia dollars 13 cents per litre on diesel respectively.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. The Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, Frans Kapofi, lashed out at staff members from the three departments for corruptly destroying evidence, creating false documents such as illegitimate marriage certificates, and for smuggling contraband through the prisons. Heinke said Kapofi is only realizing this now, while the public has been aware already. Ipinge said the minister is exposing the corrupt activities without offering a solution to the problem. Nkala prefers to hear about the missing millions at the Small and Medium Enterprises Bank. While Tetekela said that Kapofi should promote officers in his ministry. The Namibia Defence Force in Walfish Bay is taking matters into their own hands by setting up a mobile hospital to assist with the spike in COVID-19 cases in the town. The hospital will have 18 beds with 2 for ICU and 5 for emergency care practitioners. Dinelawa thanked the Defence Force for coming to the aid of the coastal town. Paul wants the NDF to extend its efforts. King said the soldiers must not return to Windhoek but quarantine for 2 weeks. Chipolina thanked the sons and daughters of Namibia. Dave said that some are thanking the NDF but were against their budget allocation. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
From Cape to Cairo, Accra to Antananarivo, there are millions of people just like you trying to make a living to make money. And there's no magic way to get rich quick, unless you're Aliko Dangote. You're not Aliko Dangote, are you? No? Well, perhaps we can help you get a little further along the way. With BBC reporters all over Africa, we find the stories, the successes, and the startups that will help you make the most of your money. This is Smart Money.
Talk about the coronavirus outbreak here in Africa. How do you get people to regularly wash their hands when water is scarce? How do you get people to work from home when majority of Africans work in the informal sector?
People are dying and suffering.
More importantly, how do you get a vibrant and dynamic continent to stop in its tracks? Welcome to The Breakdown, BBC Africa's COVID-19 special program, helping you make sense of the crisis.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Cold conditions over the southern parts tomorrow and on Wednesday. A fresh to strong wind is expected in the interior on Wednesday. Please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior fine and cold to mild in the south, elsewhere fine and mild to warm but hot in the far north. The coast partly cloudy and mild to warm with fog patches at places, and the wind moderate northwesterly to southwesterly, becoming strong southerly later. Now we'll look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories. Focus on Africa.
Hello, I'm Peter Okwocha. Welcome to Focus on Africa. Our top stories. Lockdown in Zimbabwe, where tough restrictions have laid bare the country's political tensions and a growing economic crisis.
Take a 2 kg packet of rice. In November, that cost $40. It now costs $170.
And an unemployment crisis in South Africa. 60% of young people are out of work. A surge in cases and overwhelmed hospitals. We have a special report on Egypt's fight against COVID-19. Also on the program, Algeria celebrates its Independence Day, the first since President Bouteflika left office. And after months of protests forced him out, what's changed in Algeria?